Dynamic blessings. Welcome to the Synergistic Edge where high performers win everywhere. In this episode, I want to talk about something that's very important. It's the end of 2026, it's December, and oftentimes I find that this is the most powerful time to reflect. It's something that we do naturally. We get to the end of the year, we look back at the end of the year, and we say, hey, how did this year go? And for you, how do you feel like your year went as it pertains to your health? Both physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, socially, all of it. And based off of how it went, did it go exactly like you wanted to, or did you leave some meat on the bone as it pertains to your goals and how you expected it to go? And what I want to do in this episode is to talk about 3 specific mindset shifts that you can make to transform your health in 2026. So when I say transform, what do I mean by that? It's not a word that's just rooted in hype or is supposed to mean something crazy, but literally transform means how do you change from one thing into something else? And oftentimes when I find that people are trying to transform their health, they're not starting with the right place. And the right place to start is with your mind. It starts with your mindset. One of my favorite quotes from Henry Ford is that whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. Meaning, the way that you think about your potential outcomes will directly dictate if you reach it or not. So the first thing I like to do before we actually dive into the 3 mindset shifts is to define what a mindset is. The way I like to think about mindset, it is how your thoughts impact and dictate the actions that you take or that you don't take. And ultimately, your mindset is the compass or sets the foundation for the actions that you're going to take that are either going to get you closer to your goals or take you further away from them. And within the mindset, I want you to think about how our thoughts play such a crucial role in the outcomes that we produce. For example, let's talk about anxiety for a second. Oftentimes, I see anxiety as this thing where you're putting faith in the fact that you're not going to get what you want based off of the work that would be required to put in. So think about that. If your health goal is to drop 30 pounds this year, but if you think about actually dropping 30 pounds, it doesn't feel realistic. You don't think you can actually do it. Well, now that creates anxiety because there's this worry that you're going to put in all this work and not get that thing. And what does that anxiety do? It creates a feeling in your body, often in your heart, that makes you say, you know what? There's no point in actually going out and doing this thing. And your anxiety actually can stop you from even taking action on what is truly important. Versus on the opposite side, when I am excited about this thing that I'm going to go after, if I'm excited to lose the 30 pounds and I know how it's going to make my life different, and I know how much better I'm going to feel, now that actually creates anticipation. I'm now excited to do the things required to lose the 30 pounds and now have the results that 30-pound loss is going to create in my life. So for you, I want you to think for a moment. Do you look at your health and think about all the things you need to do for your health in the terms of anxiety, being worried that you're not going to get what you want? Or do you see it through the lens of anticipation, which gets you excited to actually put in the work? Once you get clear on that, understand, if you can create anticipation for it, now you're going to make yourself feel like doing the thing. You're going to make yourself feel like waking up earlier, feel like getting more sleep, feel like eating nutrient-dense food, feel like exercising consistently. But again, it has to come from this place of anticipation as opposed to anxiety. And in order to get there, you get to truly believe that the work you're going to put in is going to get the outcomes that you really want. So now that we got that part settled, the first mindset shift that I want to share with you in order to transform your health in 2026, it's this. Instead of focusing on surface level goals, I'm going to focus on deep goals. What do I mean by that? Every time someone comes to work with me, they have a surface level goal first. Hey, I either want to put on 5 pounds of muscle. Hey, I want to lose 30 pounds. And while those things are great, they're surface level goals. What's the deeper thing that that person wants? Well, if they want to put on more muscle, typically that's a confidence thing. They want to feel better about the way that they look. Same thing with the person that wants to lose 30 pounds. It's not that they just want to lose the weight, but they want to have the confidence to go on a tropical vacation, wear the two-piece bathing suit, and be happy being out and about wearing that type of thing instead of being afraid that they're going to be judged by the way that they look. So think about this for you. What are the goals that you have for 2026? And now once you have what that goal is, whether it is to put on 10 pounds of muscle, is to lose 20 pounds of fat, it's to get to the gym more consistently, it is to eat better food, whatever it is, how does your life change when you actually reach those goals and you're in the process of reaching those goals? What are you going to be able to do in your life when you look like that, when you have more energy, when you feel great about who you are, that you're not currently doing right now? What are the types of things that you would go after in your life from a professional perspective, from a personal perspective, or anything else that you're not going after right now because you don't look the way that you want to look, you don't feel the way that you want to feel? How would your performance shift for the better? How would your capacity grow to where you can do more when your body, mind, and spirit are all elevated to a higher level? Once you start to understand what those things look like, that is what's going to put you in position to create that anticipation to go after the goal in a consistent way. One of my clients was a great example of this. Brian was the type of person where he didn't really think he needed to change anything physically because he just really had these surface level goals that he didn't think was that important. He said, yeah, I could probably lose a little bit of weight. Yeah, I could probably go to the gym more. I could eat a little bit better. But he didn't have a deeper reason why. And because of that, he would put everything else in front of that. He would make sure that his athletes were taken care of. He would make sure that his kids were good, that his business was running properly. All things that are very important. But again, he just didn't see his health as something that needed to be worked on. Now, it wasn't until he went to the doctor and during his annual checkup, his doctor said, hey, Brian, if you don't lose weight, change your lifestyle, and start showing some better blood markers, we're going to have to put you on statins because his blood pressure was out of control. And once he realized that he was going to have to be put on pharmaceutical drugs that he didn't want to be on, that he knew wasn't going to be good for him long term, that was going to cascade into other things, that's when he realized he had a bigger goal of, well, hey, I actually want to be healthy, vital, and not be dependent on any type of medications. That created the deeper level goal. It was no longer a surface level thing. So what did he do? He ended up hiring me. We started working together and we had to build a plan that worked his very busy life. He owned a business. He wore a lot of hats. He had a lot of people that were looking to him for support. And because of that, he didn't have 10 hours to spend in the gym every week. But what did he have? We worked on the 3 hours that he did have to work in the gym and we maximized it. We worked on getting his food dialed in so that it gave him more energy, so that it was going to allow him to drop weight. And lo and behold, we really worked on his identity to start to see, hey, if you want to continue to be a high performer, if you want to be here for a long time for your family, if you want to be here to continually support all the people you want to support because you are such a giver, great health is going to be a major part of that recipe. He lost 40 pounds. He looked like a completely different person. And guess what? He never had to get on the blood pressure medications. So let Brian be an example of what can be possible for you when you get a deeper level goal versus this surface level thing. Because when it's surface level, it's really easy to let your foot off the gas and not keep going. But when it's deeper and it's tied to something very meaningful, that's what's going to create that anticipation, that excitement to actually go and get after it. The second mindset shift to transform your health in 2026 is to go from a short-term fix to a long-term solution mindset. What do I mean by that? We live in a microwave society. We want our results right now. We want the changes to happen right now. We want to put in work for 30 days and have the results right now. But unfortunately, our health and great, long, sustaining, consistent health doesn't work that way. Yes, it works that way with Amazon Prime. I can see something on Amazon that I want, and I can get that thing in 5 hours if I really want it. But unfortunately, whether this is consciously or unconsciously, Oftentimes you might be looking at your health in the same way. And understand, when you put in the inputs, it doesn't feel better right away. If you haven't been training consistently, the first time you get back into training, and if you try to just go back to what you were doing when you were 10, 20 years younger, well, the next day you realize you are very sore and you feel like you can't move. And guess what? That level of discomfort can easily make you say, well, hey, this is dumb. I'm not going to keep doing this. Again, it's going to hurt a little bit in the beginning, but you got to make sure you have a smart process. You know how to properly get back into training if you haven't been doing it at all. But understand, no matter what, there's going to be discomfort in the beginning. There's going to be a process where it doesn't feel great. And guess what? That's allowing you to understand that you are well on your way to getting what it is that you want. I want you to even think about where you currently are from either your physical body or even an energetic perspective. If your energy's been low, it didn't just get low out of nowhere. It slowly, methodically dropped down over the years and years and years of all the hard work you've been doing in your career, all the things that you've been doing with your family, all of the overall responsibilities that you have. And within that process, not actually having a system that allows you to recover from it. So what ends up happening? Your energy levels are in the tank. You need to have a lot of coffee just to stay alert. You need to have a lot of caffeine just to stay alert. You might need the nicotine gum just to stay alert. Or even if you're trying to find the nootropic supplements and all of that, you need all these things to get your energy up, where all of those are just short-term fixes. It's going to take a process of getting back into this thing over the long term to reverse a lot of the things that brought your energy down. It's going to take eating well for an extended period of time. It's going to take training consistently and intelligently for an extended period of time. It's going to take prioritizing sleep, rest, and recovery for an extended period of time. And once you're able to do that for an extended period of time, you can reverse all of the tiredness, all of the extra weight, all of the muscle loss. All of these things can start to be reversed, and you can put yourself back in a position where your health is in a night and day difference than where it is right now. But you have to understand, this isn't a short-term thing. Have you had an experience before where you went on some type of crash diet, Weight Watchers, whatever it is, you lost a bunch of weight fast? Maybe you dropped 20 pounds in a month and a half. But guess what? The minute you went off of that unsustainable system and you started acting like a real human being again, all the weight probably came back on and then some. So again, it's all about having a process where you're able to put in the inputs consistently and let that consistency get you the results that you actually want. So I want you to check in with yourself for a moment. Where is your mindset around your 2026 health goals? Are you looking at creating something that you can sustain for the long term? That once you get the results, you don't just get them, you retain them for the long term? Or are you looking at it from this place of, hey, I want to just lose this weight as fast as possible, and that's that. Hey, I want to put on this muscle as fast as possible, and that's that. Think about how you're thinking about it. We need you to have this mindset where you understand that the short-term fix, the quicker it comes, the faster it's going to go. But understand, if you have the process, if you have a system, if you do it intelligently and you have this long-term mindset around it, you're not only going to reach your goals in 2026, but you're going to keep them in 2036 as long as you do it in the right way. And finally, the last mindset shift I want you to think about in order to transform your health in 2026 is the following. Focus on consistency. A lot of the high performers that I work with come from this place where they have an all or nothing mentality. They feel like if they don't do every single step absolutely perfectly every single day, then their effort's not worth it. And then what ends up happening? The second one thing goes off, the second they skip a meal, the second that they skip a workout, the second that they eat something that they weren't quote unquote supposed to eat, they just throw their hands up, say, forget it. I'm going to start over next week, next quarter, next year. And that's the worst way to be, because at the end of the day, we are not perfect. We cannot be perfect. I don't know where your spiritual beliefs lie, but for me, if I understand that Jesus was the only person that was perfect, the only human that was perfect, and that I don't need to be perfect, that easily allows me to let go of the idea that I need to be a perfectionist. Now, again, that doesn't mean that I don't work hard, but what it actually means is that instead of thinking about perfection, I think about being in excellence. How do I do my best in any given situation? And understanding that my best is going to look different depending on the circumstances of what's going on in my life and around me. For example, I know my best looks different when I have 8 hours of sleep versus when I have 5 hours of sleep. So that might mean that the production on those 2 days are going to look different. However, on that day where I only get 5 hours of sleep, I'm still going to do my best with that amount of energy that I have because I only got 5 hours of sleep. I'm not going to just not do anything, but I'm also not going to have this erroneous expectation that I'm going to have as much output on a 5 hour sleep day as I would on an 8 hours of sleep day. And it's keeping that type of perspective that's so important. You don't need to be perfect, but what you get to be is consistent. If you can be consistent in your process, you're going to win. If you can be consistent in how you show up, you're going to win. So what is consistency? It's being able to do your best no matter what is going on around you. Here's a real world example of where consistency beats perfection. Think about investing. I'm sure all of us have our own different investment strategies, but a good investment strategy that a lot of the financial planners that I've talked to and the people that I'm around, they talk about the idea of dollar cost averaging, meaning that consistently every week or month, however they're investing, wherever their frequency is, they're investing the same amount of money across the board, no matter where the market is, if it's up or down or anywhere in between. And now if you try to compare that to, say, people that try to quote unquote time the market, it's hard to beat the market, right? And the whole idea is that by dollar cost averaging over time, you're going to be hitting the highs when you need to hit them. So what does this dollar cost averaging look like in your health? These are the daily deposits that you're making. Every time you drink enough water, every time you eat real food, every time you say no to processed food, every time you spend time to be with your family, jump into a hobby, chill for a second, recover, get good sleep, whatever it is, all of these deposits are going to compound daily. And that compounding interest over the span of a year is going to be extremely high. And if you extrapolate that over 5 years, 10 years, where do you expect your health to be versus if you're trying to just take these little tiny spurts of time where it's like, hey, I'm going to invest a whole month into my health really hard right now, but then you completely stop. And then you try to start back over and say, okay, now I'm going to invest another 3 months really, really hard, but it's not sustainable, so you stop. Every time you stop, you are not only slowing down your progress, oftentimes you are actually resetting and starting over from zero. And that's what has people have these different New Year's resolutions around their health every single year. It's because you're trying to do something new that's not sustainable versus doing what can work sustainably over the long haul. So again, as it pertains to your health, I want you to think about what would it look like to be consistent in your health in 2026? Who's the person that you get to become that is consistent in 2026? How does that person think? How does that person's mindset allow them to show up powerfully day in and day out and not be a victim of their circumstances? Because at the end of the day, because you're a high achiever, you are a high performer, you have a lot of responsibilities at work, you're constantly going to have things thrown at you. People are going to need things from you at work. People are going to need things from you at home. That part is not going to stop. However, how can you be the type of person that takes care of their physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual health in such a way that you can show up for the people at work more powerfully? You can show up for your family and friends more powerfully. And ultimately, you can show up for yourself more powerfully. But it takes shifting the mindset from where it is right now to where it is that you want to be. And again, to summarize the 3 major mindset shifts. Number 1, make sure your goals are deep and not surface level. Number 2, Think long-term goals, not short-term fixes. And number 3, focus on consistency instead of perfection. If you create these 3 mindset shifts, I guarantee you that you will have some of the most powerful health outcomes that you have had in your entire life in 2026. Now you might be thinking, Alvey, where do I start? I have so many responsibilities. I have so many things that I want to change. I have so many things that can be improved. And I have so much on my plate in 2026. I don't even know where to start with these things. I'm glad you asked. Something that I'm doing for this next month, I'm only having 6 people that can take this opportunity, but I am creating a customized 2026 health map just for you. We will sit down 90 minutes, and based off of the information that you give me beforehand, I'm going to walk you through what your health plan can look like for the entire year. We'll break it down for what it'll look like for Q1, for Q2, for Q3, and for Q4, and ultimately ensure that you can have success even with all of the responsibilities that you have with work and at home. Again, when you have a plan, you're much more likely to have success. And oftentimes people like you're extremely busy. You don't have the time to go research every little thing to do from a physical, mental, emotional, spiritual, social, all of it, health perspective. That's why I'm here. And if you want to take advantage of this, go on Instagram at Alvey Thompson, DM me game plan, and I will get back with you on first steps on how you can take action on having the best year of health that you've had in 2026. I appreciate your time. I appreciate you taking the moment to reflect, look at what your mindset is around 2026, what your mindset is around your health in 2026, what hasn't worked this year and the years before, and ultimately who it is that you get to be that person that has the outcomes that you're looking for. If this episode resonated with you and you know that you have colleagues or friends that could benefit from this, feel free to share this with them. I'd really appreciate that. And as always, stay dynamic, my friend. You can too.